how to connect addition and multiplication together. So you have learned in second grade, even in first grade, again in third grade, about this thing we call repeated addition. And the word repeat just means to do something over and over again, right? So if you are, practicing some dance moves, and in order to get really good at these dance moves, you have to repeat them and practice them and do them again, right? So when you repeat something, that means that you do it again, and then maybe another time, and then maybe another time, right? Depending on how many times you need to repeat or practice that. So when we're talking about multiplication as it's related to repeated addition, I want you to keep in mind how we can connect the two things. So you guys know that you've been practicing your multiplication facts, right? Those are things that you just kind of have to memorize. I'm going to show you a way that you can connect your addition facts, your repeated addition, to multiplication. So let's get started. So I want you to think of this as an example. So let's say I eat every single day, and I'm not a great drawer, so please do not judge my drawing. But let's say I eat an apple. This is going to be my apple here. Okay. Let's say I eat 2 apples every single day. So let me draw these 2 apples that I'm going to eat every day. And I'm going to eat these 2 apples every day for 6 days. So I'm eating 2 apples every single day for 6 days. So I have these 2 apples and I eat them today. Then I eat another 2 apples tomorrow. Then another 2 apples on the 3rd day, another 2 apples on the 4th day, another 2 apples on the 5th day, and then finally on the 6th day, I eat 2 more apples. And I want to know how many total apples I eat over those 6 days. So something I could do is I could add up 2 apples a day for 6 days. I could add up 2 6 times. So I have 2 apples that let's say I ate on Monday, 2 more that I ate on Tuesday, plus 2 more that I ate on Wednesday, plus 2 more that I ate on Thursday, 2 more on Friday, and then finally day 6, 2 more on Saturday. So this is how I could show, using repeated addition, how many apples I ate for 6 days. Okay, if I eat 2 apples a day, and I'm actually going to write down this question for you so that you can see it as well. So if I eat 2 apples a day for 6 days, how many total apples will I eat? That is kind of my question that I'm answering in this problem with these drawings, with this repeated addition. So if I eat 2 apples a day for 6 days, how many total apples will I eat? So I have 2 plus 2 more. I know that that's 4. Plus 2 more, that's 6. Plus 2 more, that's 8. Plus 2 more, that's 10. Plus 2 more, that is equal to 12 apples. If I add up to 6 different times, I will get a total of 12. So I know that 12 apples is my answer. And we can use repeated addition really anytime we see a question like this, where we have the same number that is being added up each day to get our total. But in 3rd grade, your problems are going to get bigger, your numbers are going to get bigger, your word problems might have multiple steps, and doing this repeated addition every single time can take a lot of time. So instead of doing repeated addition, we can use multiplication. So we can use multiplication instead of sitting here and doing 2 added up 6 times. We can think to ourselves, okay, let's look at my problem. My problem says if I eat 2 apples a day for 6 days, how many total apples will I eat? So if I have 2 apples a day for 6 days, Again, we showed with repeated addition, that's just adding up 2 6 times. Let's just, instead of adding 2 up 6 times, let's just multiply 2 by 6. That is the same thing. Look at how many times you added up the number 2. Let's count together. We added the number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So let's just take the number 2 and let's multiply it by 6. I know that 2 times 6 is equal to 12. So either way we do it, we still get the same answer. If I add 2 up 6 different times, I will still get 12. If I multiply 2 times 6, I will still get 12. So when you're looking at a problem and you're thinking to yourself, oh, okay, I just need to add these numbers over and over and over again, stop right there and think to yourself, hey, I know how to multiply now. Let's just use multiplication. So let's do some more examples where we're looking at a repeated addition problem and solving it with multiplication. So I'm going to go over here on my whiteboard and let's take a look at this word problem up here at the top. It says that Miss Witt bought 3 boxes of paint with 5 jars in each box. What is the total number of jars Miss Witt bought? Solve this problem any way you choose. So anytime we read a word problem, we read it one time just to read it, but we always have to go back and read it another time. If not, maybe even 3 times till we really understand what they're asking. So it says Miss Witt bought 3 boxes of paint. I'm going to underline that. And I'm also going to draw that. So I'm going to draw 1 box, 2 boxes, and 3 boxes right over here. These are my 3 boxes of paint. Okay? It says 3 boxes of paint with 5 jars of paint in each box. 5 jars of paint in each box. So that word each is telling me that every single individual box has 5 jars of paint. Let's draw that in our boxes. So I know that I have 3 boxes of paint, and inside of each box, there's going to be 5 jars. So I'm going to draw jar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do it again here in the second box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then also in the third box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is representing our 3 boxes. We have our 3 boxes drawn, and we have 5 jars of paint inside of each box. We need to know the total number of jars Miss Witt bought. We need to know what the total number of jars Miss Witt bought was. So I could do this in many, many ways. I want you to think to yourself, what would you do if you had this problem in front of you? What would you do? Take a second and pause the video and think about, what would I do to solve this problem? All right, now that we're back, we've thought about what we would do. I want you to remember what lesson this is. We're talking about repeated addition and how it connects to multiplication. So I could do this a couple different ways. I could say, okay, I know I have 3 boxes and each box has 5 jars of paint in it. So I could do 5 plus 5 plus 5 more, right? Because that's 5 jars in each, 5 jars in the first box, plus 5 jars in the second box, plus 5 jars in the third box. If I added 5 plus 5 plus 5, and I'm going to write that right here, I could do 5 plus 5 plus 5. I would get 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 5 more is 15 jars. Okay. I could also think about this using multiplication, because we just talked about if we are doing repeated addition, we could also solve this using multiplication. So how many jars of paint are inside each box? It tells us that there are 5 inside of each box. Okay, well, how many boxes do you have? You have 3 boxes, so let's just multiply 5 times 3. I know that 5 times 3 is 15. So you can see whether we use repeated addition or whether we use multiplication, we still get the same answer. What is the total number of jars that were bought? We have 15 jars. Okay. Let's take a look at some more practice, just kind of getting our mindset on repeated addition and changing it into multiplication. So for number 6 and 7, we're going to use these pictures to help us. For number 6, we have two groups of blank. How many are inside of each of those groups? Let's find out. So I know that I have two groups, and I'm going to circle or square off these two groups. This is my first group. This is my second group. Show me with your fingers how many are inside of each of those groups. Go ahead and show me in the camera. I should see 5 in the camera. I should see a 5 finger in the camera. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of each group. So I have two groups of 5. Now, if I'm thinking about this using repeated addition, how could I solve how many total discs I have? Well, I could just do 5 plus 5 more because I have two groups of 5. 5 plus 5. What is 5 plus 5? 5 plus 5 is 10. Awesome job. So that is solved. Very easy, right? I take my two groups. How many are inside of each group? 5. Let's do 5 plus 5. Let's think about this using multiplication though. I have two groups. How many are inside of each group again? There's 5 inside of each group. So let's do two groups times 5 in each group. 2 times 5 equals 10. So you can see we get the same exact answer whether we use repeated addition or multiplication, but multiplication is just quicker and it will become easier. Let's look at number 7. You have 5 groups there. They actually box them off for you if you could see the 5 groups. Show me with your fingers or just tell me how many are inside of each group. There are 4 inside of each group. There are 4 red discs inside of each group or 4 counters in each group. Very nice job. So I know that I have 5 groups of 4. So if I wanted to use repeated addition, I could do 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. I could add up 4 5 different times. So 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Well, what would that equal? We're going to have to stop and count by 4s. So I have 4 plus 4 more would be 8 plus 4 more, 12 plus 4 more, 16 plus 4 more, 20. So I have 20 total discs. Okay, well, let's think about this with multiplication. I have 5 groups, so we always take the number of groups and we multiply it by how many are in each group. So if I have 5 groups times 4 in each group, 5 times 4 is 20. Do you see how quick and easy that was as opposed to sitting there and adding up 4 plus 4 plus 4 in our minds? We can use multiplication that's much easier. Okay, so I encourage you down here at the bottom for numbers 8 through 11, go ahead and complete these equations. I'll show you for number 8. If we have 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, whoa, that's a lot of 8s. So that's repeated addition using 8s, right? If I have 8 plus 8, that's 16, plus 8 more is 24, plus 8 more is 32. But instead of having to add all those 8s, I could just say, okay, how many groups of 8 do I have? How many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 8s times 8. So 4 times 8 is the same thing as saying 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. Okay, I encourage you to go ahead and try number 9, 10, and 11, showing your repeated addition is the same thing as multiplication, and just keep practicing.